politics of state of emergency and all the other issues that has come up with regard to security of lives and properties in Nigeria? Mr. Juku? Yeah, please.
Okay. The police are not involved in politics. We've been non-partisan for many, many, many years. Our job is to enforce laws made by politicians and to make sure that every Nigerian, irrespective of his calling or creed, lives in an environment of safety and security. That's our primary responsibility given to us by you Nigerians. That's what we are doing. We are not politicians, please.
Okay, if that was the case, that brings us to the question of the position of the IGP regarding the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That seemed to smack of a little bit of politics when he's choosing who will be recognized as the Speaker, and then in other states where similar incidents have happened, he's not chosen to withdraw the policemen who are guarding other such individuals. And I don't want to go into the details of it, but you understand what I'm talking about.
What I do know is that whatever the police leadership does, the IG in particular, is guided by the laws of the land. And is sworn on oath to respect and obey the laws of the land. What he has done is in line with the law. And about the Speaker, what the IG said was that the matter is in court, and so he will not comment on a matter before a court. Himself being a lawyer, and the senior law enforcement officer for that matter.
But isn't it a case of choosing when he will implement what the law says, and in other situations he is not choosing? If you have a governor that has moved from one political party to another, would he not be expected to implement the law in that sense? Why does he choose to apply the law in the case of the Speaker and not in other cases?
My problem with that line of argument is that it's not backed by law. What the particular law that the police quoted, it mentioned member of the House of Representatives or the Senate. It didn't mention governor. So we follow the law as it has been written and given to us to enforce.
Okay. Yeah, go on, Alero.
Just before we let go of you, Mr. Ojukwu, earlier you spoke about restricted movement in the states where there was a state of emergency. It seems to many that there is restricted movement only for a certain class of people. It didn't seem to have referred to Boko Haram because they were moving around doing their business in inverted commas, and nobody was arresting them for breaking the curfew.
That is not really the case. I can tell you authoritatively that the police and in fact the restriction of movement in some parts of this country have yielded tremendous results. That same yesterday, there was a planned bomb attack in a mosque in Maiduguri. But because of the police presence, we were able to avert it. We averted it. We achieved a lot of successes in that regard. But criminals, they still go about, they still do what they do, but we get them, and many times we prevent them. It is only when it happens that the public will now see it has happened as if we've not been doing our job. No, we do quite a lot. I can tell you, those preventive measures have yielded tremendous results.
So what would you say to someone like Matthias, who has sent us an email just this morning asking, how do you explain improvement in security when during the state of emergency, Boko Haram has taken more territories in 3 northern states? That's the question from Matthias, who has sent us a mail. How do you explain that?
The operation is led by the military, and it is ongoing. But I can assure you, Nigeria will come out victorious.
Okay, let's come back to the studio. What's your thought? Because I can see some reaction coming from your end.
If you keep doing the same thing the same way, you will never get a different result. You'll be getting the same result. It begs common sense. If for the first 6 months, the next 6 months, and another 6 months, these states have been under a state of emergency, and things have gotten much more out of hand. They've redrawn the map of Nigeria, whether you like it or not. Dr. Kongo talk of distraction, and there are so many fronts. I don't need you to tell me I'm hungry. We don't need the police to tell us that there is insecurity in Nigeria or that they are losing out in the northeast. But the facts and the figures that are there in the public space, they confirm that. So, like I said yesterday somewhere, and I said Nigeria is fighting 3 wars presently. We are fighting an economic war. We are fighting a political war because people are taking the next election as if it's a war. The way they are preparing, all the language you can see, all the things they are doing. And of course, the insurgency is also another war that we are fighting. So, for all I care, it doesn't make any difference declaring emergency because it has not added any value, does not change anything, does not improve their security. Instead, Boko Haram, they've continued to gain more space.
But
okay,
you know that there was no bomb attack in Kano recently, apart from
no, but
that one.
When they was making submission, remember
Yes.
some weeks back, there was one. Somebody even said it intuitively that with what the emir said, that Kano should expect some bombing. And it came to pass yesterday. And it happened. Like I told you
There wasn't
on,
one last week, maybe some weeks ago.
about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
About 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks
Yeah,
ago,
this is
I
because
will
their
need to
lives.
verify that.
And
We'll need
like
to
Radley
verify
said,
that.
everybody should be in charge of security. It's not about the police or the army or DSS or whoever. All of us are concerned. Those days here in channels, you could walk in freely. Today the story has changed. You guys took care of your security. You raised the bar. So before you can come in, you must have a reason for coming. You must be cleared. So if that can happen here, it can happen in his own church, why not everywhere? So it's lack of laxity on the part of managing that mosque in Kano to start with. I don't always like people when they say the president. It can't be everywhere. Please, let's give it to him. Okay. There are other people involved in governance at different levels. What are they doing? Okay. There's a chairman of the council in that same place, under whose mosque is. What has he been doing?
Okay.
They have,
Mr. Komo, do you need that? Do you think that those 3 states in focus need the state of emergency for this battle to be won?
Certainly, certainly. I had come out about a week or 2 weeks ago and issued a release that is unfortunate. Well, not 2 weeks ago, just particularly a week ago today, last Saturday's Guardian, that because there was a lot of buzz. It's like, why aren't we winning this war? What's going on? Why are we losing territory, like that man said? And so I said, look, it's very simple. There are so many things afoot here. Okay, you say we have a state of emergency, but we have a state of emergency not in terms of combating Boko Haram, but state of emergency in terms of the political space, defining. We don't know who is responsible for what. No, who is really who is accountable for things not going well out there. The military, they have difficulty with arms and ammunition. We have a military that has more or less stopped recruiting for so many years now, and is being aided on the front lines by hunters and civilian JTF. And I mean, there are so many factors there. So what I said was, my submission was that, look, well, right now we have a problem because the assembly or the legislature is not giving anything. I think, in fact, it's been said that the old emergency has elapsed, so the president has to make a new request.
Which he has done.
Which he has done. Now, what I say to our assembly is that please approve that emergency immediately. But now, and I'm also saying to Mr. President, please use your powers adequately this time. Remove the entire political structures and let us have
a proper situation on ground.
But
Let's
Mr.
put.
Gomo, I'm sure you
Madam,
heard.
let us have